So the game I have been playing it this week and decided to bring up to attention is one of the game that was in my nominations list for the special episode, the Game Club episode. It's called Fizz by Andy Dauman, and I think at least the version I've played was released at the very end of 2023, so less than 6 months ago. And I played the version available on itch.io for the VIC-20. Well, I've actually also played the Commodore 64 version of it, but
Both
mostly I
versions.
played the VIC-20. Well, mainly because there aren't that many VIC-20 new games developed for that system, so I'm always quite attracted to any title coming up for the VIC-20. Commodore 64 has a lot more love, so. But that said, it has some pretty nifty RAM requirements. I think it needs 35 kilobit of RAM. So
Wow, that's
the
insane.
most yeah, for the VIC-20, that's quite a lot. So if you have a very basic VIC-20 with 5 kilobit, it's not going to work. You need some RAM expansions. And of course, the game is also playable in an emulator, so then there is absolutely no problem. So, well, those who have listened to our episodes on the Game Club nomination already know a little bit about Fizz, but I hadn't really played it at that time. And so now I can talk about it in more depth. It's a puzzle platformer, so very typical game that I like and that you know that I like. I have to give a couple of warnings first, that in order to enjoy this game, well, you need to be able to see past the less than stellar graphic, of course, but
VIC-20 is not like, renowned for being
yeah,
RTX graphics.
but these graphics also often makes no sense. Well, at least what I mean is that they're not very intuitive what the different objects really are on the screen. So you can learn them by playing, but it's not like certain boxes will tell you by sight what they are for. So it needs a bit of patience, and also you need to be patient with the controls. I think they are a little bit frustrating. But otherwise, I really enjoyed this game after the first few levels, which were too easy and didn't make the game look that good to me because they were really way too easy. But after a while, well, it really started to require me to think, which is what a good puzzler should really do. It was not really obvious how to solve many of these levels. And I still haven't solved them all, by the way. There's 48 levels. At least that's how it looks like from the game itself, because it doesn't give you any saving options, but you can choose which level to start from. So if you remember how far you've been, then you can restart from that level. And also, if you get stuck, that there is one level that you really can't figure out how to solve it, you can skip to the next. So you're not gonna be stuck forever.
Yeah.
And then there are also, well, technically 30 additional levels for the multiplayer mode. So, well, I'll talk more about that later on, perhaps. Let's just talk first about what the game really is. So it's a puzzle platformer. Your purpose is, unsurprisingly, to reach some exit door, which is often closed, and you first need to reach some switch to open the door and then reach the door. You can move around left and right. You can jump. More on that later on, because it wasn't immediately obvious to me what jumping is for, because I was expecting that you would jump over a hole, for example, in a platform, but you actually can't. You always fall in any hole on your platform. So you actually jump up. You can picture that the screen is kind of built up in a grid of sorts. So you jump up one step on this grid. And you can also fire a laser that has different purposes depending on what you hit with it.
Okay, sounds complicated already to me, but yeah.
Oh, come on. This is just
just the beginning.
Yeah. At this point, I just told you have to move left and right and fire a laser. How is that complicated?
Because the laser has different things.
All right,
behaves
okay.
differently. I don't
Yeah,
know.
you'll see what I mean. Okay, yeah.
Okay.
Fair enough. So you move step by step on this screen that is basically a map of different blocks. And your regular platforms on VIC-20 look like red bricks.
VIC-20. You say
On the
Italian, VIC-20.
Oh, sorry. VIC-20. VIC-20. So then, so you have ladders, for example, that you can climb. You have some moving platforms, yellow platforms. If you move onto them, they just push you to the right or the left. You can't go back. So some one-way platforms, so to speak.
Yeah.
There's some dangers, like there are some lasers active on the screen in different places. They just actually look like a line, vertical or horizontal line. If you go into that line, you're fried and you have to restart again. But that's usually not like the biggest danger. The biggest danger is getting stuck or just not being able to solve the level. Okay, short break here. Can you hear my kids watching the telly?
No.
Okay, otherwise I would tell them to turn it off because I can hear them. But
are they on holiday today?
Yeah, they're already been since the beginning of June. June and July are holidays, months here.
Okay.
Okay, restarting from here. So the biggest challenge is, of course, figuring out what should you do in a level, how should you interact with the various elements in order to finally open up the exit and then reach it. If you die hitting on a laser, it's not the most important threat, but of course then you have to restart again. So how do you actually interact with these things? Well, first of all, in many screens, starting after the very few tutorial levels, are some gravity switches. They look like green arrows of sort, and they basically change the direction of the gravity. So it could be normal, upside down, or left to right, or right to left. Then your controls don't change, so you still move in the normal directions, but then you can jump in the opposite direction of the gravity, and of course the gravity pulls you down, so if you drop off a ledge, then you fall in that direction. This is one way you can actually get stuck. Yes?
So if the gravity is upside down, your controls are also upside down, or if you walk left, if you press left on your joystick, then you go right?
No.
Okay, so it's always oriented the way it looks like.
They are oriented the way it looks like. Yes, that's what I meant.
Okay.
But then, of course, for jumping, if you're upside down, it means you push down to jump.
Of course. Yeah.
Yes. So using the gravity...
Andy is very confused. We can hear you,
his brain is already fuming or something.
His mic is turned off.
Okay. So
sorry. I just realized that.
All right. So one thing you need to do, of course, to solve a certain level might be to go into these gravity switches in the right order. And one way to get stuck is to fall into a loop, because if you actually fall down the level, you don't die, but you reappear at the top of the level. So there are places where there is like one column of emptiness, so to speak, nothing. And if you fall into that, you just keep falling forever, and then you have to restart the level. There is no way out. You can't move when you are falling. And the same can happen in other directions of gravity, so that sometimes things are a little, puzzling when you are walking with a switched gravity, because you may not see that there is one of those dangers of falling forever. So then what about the laser? All right, so this works in a quite awkward way in terms of controls. So you have to press the button and then move in one direction, and then you see this laser like a line from wherever you are going into that direction as far as you want. And if you keep that direction pressed, it actually re-enters from the other side of the screen.
Okay.
So if
you
you
can
are
shoot every direction.
you can shoot every direction with a laser. Well, not the diagonal ones, but just horizontals and verticals. But you can shoot, for example, up, and then the laser also appears from the bottom if there is no block.
Okay, it's also wrapping around. Okay.
Yes, wrapping around. Exactly. So what you do with the laser actually depends on what you hit with the laser. And there are many special bricks, each one with its own function. So there are, for example, purple boxes that you can push with the laser, and green boxes that you can pull towards yourself.
Okay.
And you might want to move them, like, for example, to fill some gaps that you then want to walk on.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
That's an example. Or you can use them to move them towards the level's own lasers. So you block those lasers that normally would kill you, and then this creates room for you to walk under these lasers, perhaps. Then there are blue boxes, or cyan colored boxes, that they work as teleporters. So if you hit one of them, you swap your place with the place of the box, and you suddenly are on another platform.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, this game requires a degree in physics and mathematics. Just looking at, I'm not sure.
And you will learn it in 5 minutes. There are also some text guides throughout the levels. So as you move around the level, when you reach a certain place, there are some built-in little text aids that tells you maybe what to do here. Actually, in the earliest levels, these are even a little bit too much, in my opinion. Things could have been figured out by doing. So the text might pop up and tell you, try to shoot a laser against this box or something like that, or this is a ladder, you can climb it, things like that.
So it's good that even for such an old platform that it gets tutorialized pretty well.
I would definitely need a tutorial.
Yeah. The first few levels are no-brainers. They're really easy. They're there just to teach you what you can do. And I think there is no manual for this game. It's all within the game. So you just do the first levels and then you're set. Well, there are new elements coming up later on, not in the earliest levels, but there's helps for those too, I think. So then a couple more things that relate to your laser. So to complicate things, there are some mirrors in some levels.
We need more complications.
Yeah, well, we need more logic for the levels to be more interesting. So there are two different kind of mirrors, because they're not exactly mirrors. Normally I would expect that if there is a mirror-like mechanic, it might look like a slanted slash on the screen, and so that you hit it from one side, you know where it's gonna end up, that laser. But this is a bit different. There's two differently colored mirrors, one of which changes the laser direction 90 degrees to the right, and the other one to the left. So it's not exactly the same as a mirror, because if you shoot it from the other side, it doesn't go back. Don't know.
I rest my case about having a degree in physics here. Yeah.
Well, this is not how mirrors work in physics. Like if you shoot a light through a mirror and say with the light hit a certain target, and then you swap your place with the target, then and shoot the light from the target position, then you would hit the source, right? It works both ways. Both direction is the same, but these do not.
It's turned
because
around.
they just turn around. Exactly, they just turn around the direction of your laser. So a little bit more complicated.
So it always, when you hit it, it always turns 90 degrees to either right or to left.
Yes.
Wherever you stand.
Yes.
Okay. So yeah.
Yes, so,
okay, I understand.
So to visualize, if you hit it, say from the west, it turns it southwards. Then if you hit it from southwards, it will turn it to the east.
Yes.
Not back to the west, and so on.
Always to the right. Yeah.
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 So for any listeners who has been able to follow and understand this game, congratulations! Because
it's not the easiest game to explain on
a podcast. It's very difficult. Diego's doing a good job, but my brain is not registering much of it.
All right, I'll add one more, and that's it. There are also some. Curiously, they're not like individual blocks, but I think usually they are entire walls, but the walls are made of bricks, so they could also be isolated bricks. That if you hit these blue bricks with a laser, then a portal appears in the shape of a small square.
Nice.
Then you can create another one by hitting another blue bricks, and then you can walk between the two portals, just walk into one and appear out of the other. Or also shoot the laser into one and the laser comes out of the other.
Wow.
So,
and also in the footage, I also see falling blocks, which are defined by the gravity, like sort of boulders falling down, like Boulder Dash. That if you change gravity, they fall down to that side.
There are some rocks, yes, in some screens, but there are these blocks that I just described, they actually just float. So the first one you encounter, this was actually a little bit surprising to me at first. I didn't get it, but these purple and green boxes that you push or pull, the easiest ones, they are not affected by gravity. They're just there wherever you put them and they stay there. But then there's rocks that fall down instead. So there's quite a lot of elements, and I might not have seen them all yet because I haven't played all the levels.
It looks complicated.
I don't have many comments here. I really struggle to follow. So it looks interesting. It looks a bit too overwhelming for me. But maybe you're right. Maybe just by playing it, it won't be as bad as I think it is. It's just like a lot of stuff going on.
There's a
other
lot
little
of
men
fun
as well.
Elements though. It sounds fun that there's a lot of stuff happening in such a basic looking game.
But there's so many different icons. So I mean, they call them icons, not icons. But there's the arrows. There's these boxes. There's another box that looks. I don't know. Maybe that's the portal. Then there's some like floor that's got abstract. Some arrows. Then there's another little man like yourself as well. And what the hell's going on here?
That's probably a screenshot from 2-player modes.
There's 2-player mode. Okay. Oh my god. Yeah.
Yes, there's a 2-player. Actually, there are 2 multiplayer modes that they have a separate set of levels from the single-player mode, but otherwise the 2 multiplayer modes have the same levels. As a matter of fact, some levels are both single and multiplayer, but the difficulty might be different and there might be variations. But the 2 modes, first of all, there's a normal 2-player mode, cooperational, so you play together. Both the characters must reach the exit. And in the VIC-20 version, one is white and one is green, if I remember right.
Yeah.
So you control separately, completely separately.
Can you kill each other?
You can't really kill anything in this game.
Ah, okay. But you said
Yeah.
if you go in a laser, you die.
Yeah, well, if you walk into one of the lasers that are already in the level, then you die.
Not if you, because you also said you shoot a laser, so I thought maybe you
No,
can.
I don't think so. I might
Okay.
not have tried that, but I don't think so, because the point is to cooperate. And so you get levels where, of course, one character must do something on one side of the screen and the other one must do something else. And some levels are identical to the single player mode, but that doesn't mean they are easier when there are two. Because to win the level, both must reach the exit. And there might be a level where to reach the exit, the first character, it looks like it has to do something that then prevents the other to reach the exit. Maybe activate some switch, and the switch opens the way for the first but blocks the second, something like that. So well, except probably the very early levels, then you might have to think differently about how to solve them. And there are certainly levels that at first sight they look the same, but if you then pay attention, they are not exactly the same. They have slight but important variations between 1 and 2 player modes. And if you want this multiplayer, you can also play it by yourself. Well, of course, you can play controlling both characters, but there is also a mode where you use the same controls and you switch by pressing space between one and the other character. So it's good also if you don't have anyone to play with, you can play the multiplayer modes easily in one person. And besides that, I think the only direct interaction between the two is that one character can jump on the other's head.
Okay,
so
that
then you have room to reach something that might not be reachable alone.
Okay,
but that's it.
Well, and what do you think about how the puzzles are designed? Are they do you think they're good, or because there's so many elements that I can see that the puzzles can be very overwhelming and you don't really know what to do, and I can see this getting confusing very fast because the screens are pretty full with all these little
different
tiles.
things.
So I can see
right.
that it could get very complicated, and maybe because of that, really, well, maybe not fun.
It's nearly like there's too many mechanics. Maybe
yeah,
I don't
maybe
know.
it gets a little bit random.
Yeah, the challenge in each level is quite variable, in my opinion. So let's not count the very earliest one. They are really a pushover just to teach you the basics. But when it starts, like after level 5 or so, it already gets a little harder. And there are certainly levels where you look at them, take a minute or two to think, and then you know what you should do. And others that you, at least I couldn't do it. I had to try a few times and then, oh, okay, this is what I shouldn't do. So restart and figure something out as I try multiple times. There are levels where all you can see you need to interact with, and levels where I think you definitely do not need to interact with everything. So there are sort of red herrings, and you might think, well, not in a sense that there are traps. I haven't seen any elements that if you click on the wrong switch, you die or something like that. But rather things you might think, I need to get there, and when you get there, you realize there's no way back, for instance.
Yeah.
Or an object that you could pull, but then, well, maybe if you shouldn't pull it because then you can't put it back, and you needed it in a different position, or you need it there where it was since the beginning. So things like that. I almost also wondered a few times, some levels seem to be too easy, and I wonder if maybe the developer had meant for a different solution that was more complicated, but then I just found a shortcut.
I didn't account for people finding. Yeah. That's pretty cool that you can do that.
Yeah, there were definitely some levels that I thought, I just go there, but there were maybe in the 20th or 30th level, so I would expect something longer. But there are also some that I didn't made it yet, haven't made it to solve some of them. And there was one was especially mind confusing to me, where there are too many of those mirrors, and it looks like I might have to pick the right one and shoot it from the right direction, but there are so many that I couldn't figure out where I need to stand and in which direction I need to shoot. So at some point I just moved on to the next level. Maybe it's trivial. Maybe it was the starting position and I didn't even try that. I don't know.
And so the difficulty curve is maybe also not optimal. That there's sometimes.
Well, I think that's good because it gives you a bit of respite. Like, if you get to a level, then you're like, it gets more difficult, and then you go, this one's easy. Yeah, it's good, isn't it? Just a little breath of air, kind of.
Yeah, that's true.
It didn't feel like a linear increase in difficulty. More like a bit up and down. But then, as I said, I think I maybe reached level 30 something, but haven't seen the last one. Maybe the last ones are really, really hard. I don't know.
And when you mess up a puzzle, how far will it set you back? Is it like, can it be like 10 minutes or is there a rewind function or something that you can go a few steps back? Because that's often very infuriating in these games when you're already like 5 minutes into a level and then you make one stupid mistake of pushing a box
by mistake
into
maybe,
something you don't want, and then you have to restart the whole level again. But I don't know how much
you have to restart every time if you get stuck. So you just restart
the level.
But I think that if you supposedly knew the solution for a level, you would do it in not even minutes.
Okay.
30 seconds, maybe, the most complicated level. If you knew exactly what to do, they don't require a lot of time. Most of the time is figuring out what to do, really.
Sometimes with these games, you have to experiment a lot and you find the solution, but you don't know what you did to find the solution. So then if you start over, then you're screwed anyway. So
until you learn,
because you have to re-experiment or something. I could see this being pretty frustrating. I don't know, but because there's so many elements on the screen, I remember, for example, playing Witch and Wiz. Which had that rewind function. So, and there were levels where I really needed that because I was just experimenting with a lot of options inside a level. But these levels seem more complicated than Witch and Wiz. There's more elements to it.
There's loads more. Yeah,
but well, if you like puzzlers, I think you'd like this game in general. And as I said, then usually I didn't have much problem figuring out most of the levels in a very short time. Then maybe there were 20% of the levels, 30% of the levels that required me, say, 5-10 minutes to figure out. And a couple that I didn't figure out, or I quit after 5-10 minutes. And but I could also see myself like popping the game up one evening and spending, I don't know, an hour on one particularly hard level.
Wow.
But of course, well, that's not what most people probably would like to do, but it's like it's almost an enigmistic game activity. So if you like that, but it might be that I just didn't see the solution of these couple of levels, and it would be much easier for someone else. I just might have missed the obvious Yeah. Okay, so I'm
I don't
gonna
have
spend
many
maybe a couple of words also on some, well, negatives, if you want.
Okay.
But I
Go
think
for
the
it.
main negative is, of course, if you do not like a game where you have to think about, yeah, don't play these hard puzzlers. I don't think it's a hard puzzlers, but the complexity with all these elements, it forces you to think a bit.
Yeah.
But I only have some minor gripes. I think the controls were a bit awkward. Um, Maybe they were a bit too fast, so sometimes I just fell off a ledge because I was not careful enough. I took one too many steps, so it could be a little better. And the jumping thing, um, it really got me unprepared. I really thought that I could jump over these small gaps in the platforms, and that it was just me not timing correctly. But then I realized that no, it's not a jumping platform game. You don't really jump over anything. You only jump up to reach a ledge where you can like hold on, or to reach you can reach, for example, if the exit is one block above you, you can jump and reach it. You actually have to click the exit to really exit.
Okay.
And yeah, but once I got it sorted out, that was okay. It just felt a bit weird. And also the graphics really is not really intuitive. All these blocks, they look like blocks. They don't have any feature that could tell me that that blue semi-round box is a teleporter. And yes, there's hints, but you might also not pay attention to the text of the hints. If you're not in a specific position, you don't see the hints. It's only when you walk in a certain area that the hints is visible. So I think it would have been better. And the C64 version has much clearer graphics than these. So yeah, but as I said, these are minor gripes. Like
Well, you can get
otherwise,
used to these gripes.
yes, and it was always like at the first encounter of these things that made me wonder how they really work. But then you get used to it almost immediately, so it's not really a big deal. Maybe I can also spend a couple of words on the C64 version shortly, very shortly, because it's exactly the same game, but it looks very different. But as far as I played it, the levels are exactly the same in single player mode. And they have exactly the same solution. All the levels that I tested, at least. Then I didn't really test the multiplayer for the C64 because I think I might have had a buggy version, and the multiplayer mode always gave me the same level over and over. So not sure if there's any difference, but I expect that they might be also the same levels. So which version I recommend? Well, the puzzles, let's assume they are exactly the same. I personally like the VIC-20 visuals a little better because of the feel more retro, have more vibrant colors. The graphics are less understandable than the C64. For example, the transporter in C64, you can see it's a block with two arrows. Well, doesn't exactly tell you transporter, but it suggests that it's going to move something. But I didn't really see anything in this blue ball that is the transporter in the VIC-20 version. But then at the same time, the C64 palette is pretty dull. Everything looks
It's really
green and
drab.
brown.
It's like
Everything looks green and brown, yeah.
Looks like you're in the sewage or something.
So the VIC-20 doesn't have many colors, so there are a few things that have the same color, and then it doesn't make them stand out near each other.
And how is the music in both of the games? I can imagine
almost
the
no
C64.
music. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
The C64 has an intro with just one screen, nice screen,
Okay.
and with a nice music. That has a nice music, but only in the intro. Then during the game, the C64 version has minor sounds. They are actually quite nice. They sound a bit like Boulder Dash sounds. Some of them might have been inspired directly by Boulder Dash games. In the VIC-20 version, I would probably recommend to turn the volume off because those sounds are almost non-existent and they don't sound that great when they exist.
Okay.
Yeah, but
just bleep
I wouldn't. Yeah, it's already quite memory intensive, so I don't think there was any room for any music on the VIC-20 version at all. So overall, I prefer the VIC-20 version anyway. More essential graphics, but that actually means less distracting. I can see things more clearly and then focus on the puzzles and not get lost in maybe not noticing something on the screen. There's some strange typos here and there in the game. I don't know if they are on purpose or not. Like grab the ladder, for example, instead of grab the ladder.
Well, that's all right, and it's just expected sometimes. It's all right.
Yeah. But I thought they were funny actually. They kind of even match the very retro feel of the of the game and the look of the character. So the character sprite is of course much better in the 64 version, but and it's
well, it's not better. It's just more detailed. I
more
don't
details
like it
and more colors.
But I like the VIC-20 character more. I don't know. It's just
I do also.
Yeah.
It's just a more retro feel overall, and I think I felt better to play this one. And of course, also I wanted to because there's few VIC-20 games. So.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Well, that's it.
Yeah.
I don't know. Andy wouldn't play this probably. I liked what I see. It's interesting, but I think I'll get frustrated with it very fast because of not like just that starting over these kind of levels. I really love these games, but I need sort of rewind function because it gets on my nerve when I make one little mistake. And then if you say it's easy to press the button once too much, like it's maybe a little bit touchy, the controls, then the mistake is easily made, and that could get very frustrating for me. So I don't know if I'm glad it's not our game club game, honestly.
Okay.
Yeah.
By the way, the game club
didn't...
game, we have the poll is done, so maybe we have to.
Apparently, ages ago we've done that. We've already played the game as well, probably. By this stage, I don't know.
Probably, but yeah, maybe we have to add in a section where we announce the winner of the game club.
Yeah, true story with that. Yeah,
in the news maybe.
Yeah, but it should be in the next episode, which is Space Pants, which is not. I don't know. I don't think we need to keep this in the episode, this bit, but I need to put the winner in the episode after, which is
the Ricky and Vicky,
the
Rocky
Ricky
and Co episode.
Somewhat,
okay, well,
yeah.
Maybe just start off with an edit in, and just.
I'll find something to put in. That's fine. Yeah, and yeah, that's all right. I'll start playing next week if you guys want to play along. I know Calm Like a Bomb's already finished it, so
we have loads of time.
Yeah.
Because the recording of the game club is 15th of August.
Gosh, yeah. That's plenty of time. Yeah, okay.
By the way, guys, I think at some point I'm gonna have to make lunch for my kids, something easy, but maybe half an hour or so. Or
we can take a break. It's fine
after
as well.
the game. After we finish the games, maybe.
Yeah, we take a break. Yeah, no problem.
Yeah. Okay.
Also, because my connection's going, I don't know, for some reason it's gone yellow. Anyways, let's just move on.
Yeah, let's move on.
Well, let's